At some point, you must have wondered how this Earth, Moon, Sun, stars, indeed, the entire universe, came into existence. The history of the universe, the Sun, Moon, stars, all these are very interesting topics. But before that, it is essential to have basic knowledge of physics so that understanding the universe becomes easier for us. That is why making this video before discussing the history of the universe was necessary. In this video, we will learn about matter, mass, weight, volume, density, and pressure. If you are not interested in these topics but want to understand the universe, then you only need to understand matter, mass, and density. This is because, in the upcoming videos of the universe series, matter, mass, and density will be mentioned repeatedly. Matter. In this universe, anything big or small that has length, width, or height is called matter. That means anything that occupies space and has mass is called matter. For example, this rock has length, width, and height, meaning it occupies space. Since it occupies space, we will call this rock matter. Similarly, everything that occupies space, gas, water, rocks, mountains, earth, moon, sun, stars, are all forms of matter. There are 4 states of matter: solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Gas. You might be wondering how gas can have length, width, or height. You must have heard the phrase, "We are all made up of atoms." In reality, not just us, but everything in the universe is made up of atoms. An atom is an extremely tiny particle that cannot even be seen with an electron microscope. However, even an atom has its own length, width, and height, meaning it also occupies space. So, an atom itself is also matter. Everything in the universe is made up of these atoms, whether it is solid, liquid, gas, or plasma. If an atom is matter, then everything made up of atoms will also be considered matter. The only difference is that, in gases, atoms are far apart and can move freely. In liquid form, atoms are very close to each other, they can move, though slowly. In solid form, atoms are tightly bound together, they can vibrate but cannot change their positions. Similarly, plasma is also a gaseous state of matter in which charged particles move freely. Now you must have understood what matter is. Anything that occupies even a little space is called matter. Basically, you can think of atoms as matter because all matter is made up of atoms. In the next videos, we will frequently discuss atoms and matter. There is one more thing related to matter that must be mentioned here. Anything in this universe that occupies space disturbs the fabric of space and time. As a result, we observe gravity. This means that every matter has its own gravity. Even the smallest matter, like a single atom, has its own gravity. However, since an atom is extremely small and occupies very little space, its gravitational force is so weak that we cannot feel it. But when these atoms combine in billions and trillions to form large matter, like our Earth, the combined gravity of these atoms becomes significantly strong. In short, less matter means less gravity, and more matter means more gravity. I mentioned the fabric of space and time here. This is a very interesting topic, but we will learn about it in the upcoming videos. For now, just remember that anything that occupies space is called matter, and matter has its own gravity. Mass and weight. We usually mix up mass and weight, making it difficult to differentiate between them. Let's first talk about mass. The amount of matter in an object is called its mass. Means the knowledge of total amount of matter in an object is called mass. A measure of the amount of matter in an object. On the other hand, weight is the name of a force, the attraction that one object feels towards another due to gravity. The simple definition of weight is a measure of the heaviness of an object. For example, the largest matter around us is the Earth, meaning the Earth's gravity is the strongest around us. That is why the Earth pulls the rock lying on it towards itself. But this rock also has its own length, width, and height. Meaning, this rock itself is also matter. Although very less, but this rock also has its own gravity which pulls the Earth towards it. So the combined gravitational pull between the Earth and this rock will be called weight. The difference between weight and mass deserves a separate video. For now, just remember that the amount of matter in an object is called mass, and the gravitational pull between two objects is called weight. Let me tell you something interesting. The shopkeepers we see weighing things on a balance scale daily are not actually measuring weight but measuring mass. Mass is always measured in kilograms, whereas weight is a force, so it is always measured in newtons. Subscribe to this channel Beyond Earth and press the bell icon so that you get notified immediately about upcoming videos. Anything that occupies space is called matter. Matter has its own gravity. The amount of matter in an object is called mass. The gravitational pull between two objects is called weight. And the amount of space an object occupies is called its volume. The amount of space that a substance or object occupies or that is enclosed within a container. Volume is measured in cubic meters. If you convert a 2D square into 3D, it becomes a cube. A cubic meter is a cube with a length, width, and height of 1 meter each. Based on what we have learned so far, the first part of the volume definition is easy to understand. The amount of space that a substance or object occupies. This means that the space occupied by matter is called its volume. But the second part of the definition, or the amount of space that is enclosed within a container. This means that the empty space inside an enclosed container, like a box or a cylinder, is called its volume. For example, if we have a closed box with an internal empty space of 1 cubic meter, it means we can store 1 cubic meter of matter inside this box, whether it is gas, liquid, or solid. We often hear that a car engine is 1000 cc, a motorcycle is 150 cc, or another is 100 cc. This is also about volume. Since engine cylinders are small, we do not measure their internal space in cubic meters. Instead, the volume of car and bike engine cylinders is measured in cubic centimeters, cc. A 100 cc motorcycle engine means that its cylinder can store a maximum of 100 cubic centimeters of air inside it. Cars have multiple cylinders, so their combined volume is listed, which ranges from 800 cubic centimeters to 2000 cubic centimeters or more. Density. To understand density, we will use mass and volume. The amount of matter or atoms in an object is called mass, and the space an object occupies is called volume. Now, let's measure the mass of some objects with a cubic meter volume. If we fill our 1 cubic meter volume container with air and measure its mass, we find that the mass of 1 cubic meter of air is 1 kilogram. Now, if we measure the mass of 1 cubic meter of water, it is 1000 kilograms. Why is that? Even though the volume was the same, 1 cubic meter of air had a mass of 1 kilogram, while 1 cubic meter of water had a mass of 1000 kilograms. This is because, in air, atoms are farther apart, so fewer atoms fit in 1 cubic meter, resulting in less mass. In water, atoms are closer together, so more atoms fit, resulting in higher mass. Similarly, if we measure the mass of an object where atoms are not just close to each other but actually bonded together. Like iron. In iron, the atoms are so tightly packed that the mass of 1 cubic meter of iron reaches approximately 8,000 kilograms. That is density. The measurement of how tightly a material is packed together. There is a type of star in the universe called a neutron star. The material of this star is so dense that a cubic meter of it on Earth would weigh about 1 trillion kilograms. How about 8,000 kilogram of iron and 1 trillion kilogram of neutronium both being the same size? You can find the density of any object by dividing its mass by its volume. Pressure. I don't think I need to explain much about pressure. Almost everyone knows that pressure means force applied. But one thing to remember is that pressure is related to temperature. If pressure increases, temperature also increases, and if pressure decreases, temperature also decreases. This video of the Universe series was very difficult to understand. If you have watched it till the end, then a like is well deserved. The next video of the Universe series will be about how we measure the size of our universe.